What were you both doing that this put that the pandemic put paid to? How do we meet you? Let's just back up. What did this stop?
Yeah, I had this really great job. I was going to play Harry Potter in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child in the West End. I rehearsed for a week, and then all collapsed into nothing. And then it was that point. That was the thing. It was that third lockdown after months and months, and there'd been lots of attempts to get things going again, and then they all slammed shut. So it really felt absolute and existential.
And Pinny, what did it put paid to for you?
Well, I mean, everybody was trying to think of ways to make films as well, and I think that it was really, really hard. Like, I couldn't go out and, I'm deaf, so I couldn't understand my participants when I was trying to interview them because they were wearing masks, and it was just tough for us all. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so we learned, Sam, that you're already quite a seasoned player. So walk us through how long have you been a fan, and how do you get into this? How did you get into this world?
To be honest, I wasn't like much of a seasoned player of this. No, I was quite kind of new to it, but immediately, as soon as I started playing, I started playing it in lockdown like a lot, probably millions of other people did the world over. And I knew Mark played a lot, so I got in touch with him and said, let's hang out. And it was just so much fun. And just seemed like an incredibly exciting environment to be in and to kind of play in and sort of...
Better than Zoom Shakespeare. So.
Yeah. And then it was as you see it, there's fucking theatre in there. And then we're like, wow, this is... and you just get that feeling when you're in that space, like running around. It's not just playing the game. You get the feeling you can do anything here. It's just, it's very like free and alive. So... we did.
And I think it was actually that aliveness which was the thing that brought us to this project, because you do live theatre, I make documentaries make films about real people things are unfolding in front of me, and I have to capture it and find a way of telling a story about what's happening. And I think that we'd never worked before together, and when we started making this film, we realised, we kind of do similar things. That excitement of like not really knowing what's going to happen next and having like curveballs thrown at you, kind of every documentary filmmaker has to admit that they wouldn't stay in the game if they didn't find that a bit exciting.
And that's the thing that so you've got these two kind of worlds that are connected through liveness of documentary film and theatre, and then the third one is online video games. They also have this sort of element of chaos where you just you don't know what's going to happen at any moment from one moment to the next, and that's really exciting.
And does your experience of live theatre, do you think that kind of prepared you in a really helpful way for this?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, yeah. But particularly the way I like theatre is to be a bit kind of chaotic and rough around the edges, and like you have a plan, you have a rehearsal, you have a script, but you kind of are ready to go a bit freeform when you have to, and that's when it's most exciting for me.
But generally, when in live theatre, you don't have to risk getting shot at.
No.
Right.
No.
And strange aliens showing up.
Not always, but some strange people.
I remember you saying quite early on, though, that it felt a bit like probably it was like for Shakespeare and his company 500 years ago when they first performed at the Globe. Mm-hmm. And there was a sort of, there was an irreverence, actually, probably, I imagine. People would come and go. They'd probably throw apples at you if you were a bit not very good. Go off with a prostitute, so there was a kind of like, you said to me, it's a bit like being at the Globe, like maybe 500 years ago. That's what you said.
And also the world is incredibly cinematic, so it's exciting for you visually.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was astonished. I had never played computer games before. I was very disapproving of computer games. I don't know why, but I was. I didn't realise about the beauty of the world that Rockstar Games has created and worked on, and it's vast, and there's mountains and hills, and you don't just have to shoot people and steal cars. You can go and hang out with your friends in a bar. You can go for literally do nature photography, which is what I did. I mean, a lot of that footage you saw me when Sam is talking about the beauty of the world, and you see me, my avatar, walking around. Well, that was all the footage from me doing my exploration on my own, which I absolutely loved. And I think when we all felt locked in and our lives were the same every day, waking up in the same house, to be able to go into that landscape and explore and feel free was just amazing.
Mm-hmm. And so first of all, you're conceiving this obviously as a live piece of theatre online. And then at what point do you know this is becoming a film?
Well, there's a very strong narrative, which I think was what the BFI Doc Society picked up. They knew that, okay, are you or won't you put on this production, and why Hamlet in this space? And that's what the questions we were asking ourselves at the beginning. But I do think that when we met all the other characters, when we met all the other people that wanted to get involved, and the random people like Parteb, and the people turned up and didn't say anything but just watched, and there was just something so magical about that. We knew we had a good story and we had good characters, which is the two ingredients.
What were the joys? We see the challenges. What did this teach you actually? How did it expand your practice, both of you? Because it's never been done before.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I guess the joys of it were just when people turned up and wanted to take part with us and wanted to do things, and it wasn't. So, in terms of doing the production, obviously you're rehearsing all the scenes, but there was everyone involved was so kind of creatively involved, coming up with ideas of how to stage particular scenes, like how we would get from place to place. So all that, I think gaming and gamers are and kind of always have been incredibly creative. Mm-hmm. So there's something that I think people have when you're playing a game. You're kind of a creative person then. So I think kind of tuning into that was really special. And also a big thing for me was this thing of in the video games, and in this one particularly, you do get shot a lot and you die a lot, and people constantly bombard you with rocket propelled grenades and everything. But the amazing thing is you respawn and you go again, and that's such a amazing kind of lesson for doing anything creative and just for life, just to kind of keep going, and come back and try again and try again. And and with this project, it was really, really hard, the whole thing, to get it going, to get people invested in it, to get people interested in it. We had a lot of, tumbleweed and doors closed in front of us, but we just kept on going. And so I think there was a lesson from playing the game in that.
Mm-hmm.
I think what kept me going was the people that joined us on the journey, for sure. And in fact, we've got one of them here tonight. We've got Gareth. I can see you there, who played Claudius. You can see what he really looks like. You can see it's very exciting. It's Lizzie here. Yay. Lizzie's here, who played Gertrude. Woo. You can see what she looks like. So I mean, these people are tremendously skilled, both of them actually. They can do incredible voice acting, and they are professional actors, but also also enthusiastic gamers. And they taught us loads about, what could be possible putting on a show inside a game. The way you used the emotes, the way you moved, the way you actually acted was extraordinary. But there was also people who just came with a lot of different kinds of vehicles. So they Jerry had a plane, and millions of planes actually, a blimp and the flying car, submarine. So that he just made a lot of money in the game, played many hours, so he was able to offer his resources.
So what did it teach you about directing?
Wow, that's a big question. I guess it taught me that you've got to keep your mind open as to what a film can be. Mm-hmm. And, I didn't know what I was doing when I started making this film. As you said, not many people have done this. I mean, machinima films. Machinima is basically the art of making films in games. And it's something that's been done by fans for 20 years or so. So there's a few examples of films that have been made. But I hadn't ever seen anything that was cinematic to the level that we tried to make ours. And so I think what it taught me about directing was you've got to kind of jump in there and just work it out for yourself at every step of and not worry too much, have fun. Mm-hmm. I didn't really have the connection to the game. I mean, I started making the film. I didn't know anything about the game. I didn't really care about the game. I wasn't remotely interested in it. In fact, I did steal cars in order to get like somewhere, but I didn't really
In
have
the game,
much
not
money.
in real life.
I didn't have much money because I wasn't really doing that. I wasn't making money in the game. So that was a problem. But anyway, I don't think it really matters. I think it's storytelling at the end of the day. I think if you tell a really good story, you've got good characters, it's compelling, people are curious. I think lots of people have seen this film that have never played the game before. I don't think you should like concentrate too much on the game. I think you should concentrate on your characters, your storytelling.
I know a lot of people have spoken afterwards about when they've seen it and really connected to the idea of that struggle to do something creative with a group of people, whether that is put on a play or I don't know, anything else. And also the kind of, I mean, it's not, I don't think it is a kind of COVID film really, but it's come out of that. And every single person has an experience of coming out of that time of life that we all went through. And I think you know, a lot of people have said to us that that really resonated with them.
We do have a lot of really enthusiastic GTA players get in touch with us and say they enjoy the in-jokes. So that's good. So the people who don't play the game might not always get them, but they are some quite funny jokes. But for people who, you know, play the game. So it is, I mean, I think it can hit people at different levels. Doesn't have to, who don't necessarily need to know the game though.